G, A, and C sharp. But I kind of like whole tone a lot, so that kind of a thing.
Did you also do a
Yeah, well, I don't know. The way I look at modes is they're all derived from a major scale, so yeah, it would exactly, yeah. What else I got here? All right, and then I abuse notes even further with this thing that I call the circle of 12 tones, and if you look at laser lobotomy, right under that, yeah, I know, this is, these songs are for a project I'm doing with some death metal guys, and so it's going to be pretty brutal. We've got bleeding in the brain, and it's all sleep-related stuff. But yeah, this one's laser lobotomy. And what happens in this right here is I just laid out all the notes anywhere on the clock, basically. If you compare that to the circle of fifths, that's a real structured pattern. You've got C at the top, which is no sharps, no flats. The key of G is 1 sharp, key of D's, 2 sharps, and so on. With this system right here, you throw the notes anywhere on the clock. And what you do is that you end up with weird groupings. So the first grouping that I came up with was if you take the note at 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, you'll get the notes that are under 6 in a row. And it sounds like this. And what that is, you could look at that as a first part of a minor, and then a blues. The G, F sharp, F. So you got C, D, E, rather C, D, E flat, and then F, F sharp, G. You put those both together, which is kind of a cool tonality. A song that uses that same basic idea, mixing up blues and minor, is, have you heard of Metallica? Yeah? Well, yeah, sure. Okay. This is a song called Enter Sandman that starts with blues. So that's based on. And the last part is based on the minor because it's got F sharp and G. So this one right here starts off C, D, E flat, and it goes to F, F sharp, G. All right? Am I getting too notey here? Y'all just want me to just play or what? It's all right. All right. Now, if you take the notes that are left over from that, starting at 6 o'clock through 11 o'clock, you'll get the notes that are under that first row, C sharp, E, G sharp, A sharp, and B. And if you take that apart, you'll have a C minor 7, C sharp, E, G sharp, and B, with some passing tones with the A sharp, actually just the A and the A sharp. So you'll come from a minor, the C minor, mix that up with C sharp minor 7. That would be So you'll see the tonality working there? Okay, now the tune that I made up with those notes goes like this. So that's C, D, E flat, F, F sharp, and then G. The tune with the other notes. All right, everybody okay? Give me some questions. Come on, give me some questions.
How are you so good?
All right. Now, again, I really like whole tone, so I happen to group this pattern to where if you take every other note starting at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7, 9, and 11, you'll get, which is F whole tone. And so, of course, there's only 2 whole tone scales, and then the other one would be C whole tone. So the first one. Okay. Now, if you look at the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock, you'll get the notes E flat, D, and then G. those notes are 3 of the notes from a C minor add 9 chord. That's going to sound like this. If you go across the clock, you'll get the G sharp, A, and C sharp, which is an F sharp minor add 9. So you're looking at those 2 chords against each other. Okay? And then if you look at the 4 o'clock, 5, and 6, you'll get this chord, which is an E flat minor add 9. That would go against B, C, and E, and an A minor add 9. So here's the whole progression. Okay. Does that make sense? I'm talking too much, ain't I? No? Okay. Okay, and here's the tunes that I made up with that one. The first one is going to use D, E flat, and G. And then G sharp, A, C sharp. Again. Okay, now when it comes to F, G flat, and B flat, I'm playing F and G flat. Next chord was B, C, E. I'm playing B and C. Go back to the original F, G flat, B flat, playing a B flat. And go back to B, C, E, playing that note. So it's kind of alternating between the E flat minor and the A flat minor going that kind of a thing. And anyways, and then the other pattern that I got out of that is every third, if you'll take, let me see, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, you'll get the notes G, A, B flat, and C. That would be the first part of a G minor. And then if you just rotate that clock up an hour, you'll get E flat, F sharp, C sharp, and E. That would be the first 4 notes in a C sharp minor scale. So we have the first notes in a G minor, and then the first one's in a C sharp. But one cool way to work with this is if you put both of those together, you get a half whole tone scale. That would work. That kind of a thing like that. And then the even more cooler is that the notes left out of that would get G sharp, B, D, and then F, which gives you. Okay, everybody all right? All right, I'm gonna play this song, but I have to play it on my other tune guitar, and we'll see what happens with that. Hang on. Any questions?
I had a question, but I'll wait till you finish the.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering. I'm actually not a musician, so, but I've been a fan of your work for a long time, and I was just wondering if you can tell us a little bit about some of your early development of your style, what you would consider to be your style. Like, at what point did you? I don't actually know what. Did you get a music degree or?
No, I went to. I took 2 years of with music theory in San Antonio. I think most of my inspiration comes from film score people like Danny Elfman and Jerry Goldsmith, and I used to transcribe a lot of Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Nice.
And just the way they write notes is just a lot different because I come from a pretty rock, heavy metal background. And when you fit that type of note usage into a heavy metal format, it's just not going to sound the same as what other people are doing. And I listen to a lot of scoring. God, what's the latest one? Has anybody seen King Kong?
Yeah.
That's some great stuff. But the Danny Elfman stuff, like Men in Black, all of the Batman, if you take apart his progressions, they're wacky. And I have a friend that kind of knows him, and he says he doesn't even know what he's doing, which just baffles me.
Like the other two composers that you mentioned aren't school composers.
Yeah, is that Goldsmith, isn't?
I don't believe so.
Oh yeah, he is.
Who is it that does I can't think of the name of the movie. It's similar styles though, and they're very like they. He's similar to.
Elliot Goldenthal.
That might be it. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's great too. I think he did the last Batman, but Elfman did the first 2 or 3. John Williams, he's more of a traditional, I would think, composer. I think Elfman doesn't follow any rules or anything. He just writes whatever he wants and it fits. But him and Carl Stalling mostly I get a lot of lines from.
Would you say that some of your rhythmic innovations and just some of the, I mean, that's what when I think of your playing, I think of, like earlier, I thought it was really interesting, you mentioned not playing on the downbeats and that was part of the particular sound that you got. It almost speeded up the
Yeah, it sounds
line.
like it's moving ahead when you don't play on the downbeats.
So when did you start?
I think most of that was
stuff like
Rush.
that?
I grew up listening to Rush and Al Di Meola. And yeah, he's something else. And they just did all of those lines, and you know, a lot of times guitar players now, I mean, the whole thing is shred, you know, and it kind of like gets abused because I think they're spending too much time trying to play fast. They don't look at other things, you know, they don't look at rhythm and melody and using notes and doing different things. It's just speed and just shredding, and I just think a lot of other things get lost. And I'm not the fastest guitar player, you know, but I kind of think I do things a little bit different because that's not all that the focus is. It's not all about speed, you know. I'm a big theory nut, as you can tell. I'm just talking your ears off with all these notes and everything. I like working with notes and taking rules and abusing them and breaking them and stuff like that. And you don't like that, do you?
What?
Just breaking all of the.
Absolutely. I
Awesome.
think all of us
Awesome.
do. I think all of us do. You
Yeah.
sound like that. I mean, I've known you for a long time and such, but I think if I would just hear you for the first time now, I would think that you've studied Stravinsky and the modern 20th century composers. And have you listened to any of that? Have you studied any?
I have quite a few Bartok.
Yeah.
I've got some of the. I've got some Berg CDs and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Like I said, those guys are loony birds. How they use those notes. But I just think with guitar players though, the whole thing right now, it's like, can you shred? And that's not the whole thing, you know. I mean, in all the Guitar World magazines and everything, it's like, who's a better shredder? It's like, who cares? You know, do something with notes. Do something interesting with your timing. You know, with your rhythm and stuff like that.
You're taking inspiration from
From Ronthal, yeah, he's killer. Yeah, that's a good example. Like him and Matthias Eklund. Those guys are just so rhythmically, they're just awesome. And I'm not going to mention any other players that are just speed, but I mean, you can tell just from people's writing, it's not just about how many notes can you play and different things like that. It's the whole picture. The way I kind of look at speed and shredding, it's like y'all gonna laugh, but it's like a chick. You know, just like a real hot chick. You'll see a picture of her face, and it's like that gets you in the door, and she's hot and everything. It's like, but is she all bitchy? You know? It's like that's not the whole thing. But for some people, for some of the shred guys, that is enough, and they are doing pretty well just off of the shredding. And again, I'm not gonna go ahead.
You would call shredders shallow.
I think, well, there are some shredders, namely Thal, and like Steve Vai is a good example. If you take all of his solos off of his records and you just look at what he writes, the dude is just creative up to his eyeballs. But then you take other,
Others like Gary King, for example, don't.
Yeah.
well, he doesn't even play in key. But
Doesn't really matter anymore.
you know what?
I'm not a Slayer fan.
Yeah, I think Slayer's cool too, but I heard he was taking lessons from Satriani, and he just stopped after a while because it was too organized, and he didn't really need to play in key to play in Slayer. But I mean, the dude has contributed. Hey, you gotta admit, the guy has contributed a lot to metal.
More rhythmically, I guess.
It's just the whole vibe that they have. You know, you can't
So,
deny
yeah.
Slayer's just they're brutal and
Yeah.
you know, but
Hey Ron, what do you think about Vinnie Moore as far as the melody? I mean, he did more.
I think he's more of a
I
traditional
like that
neoclassical
melody.
guy.
You know, I mean, he's a shredder too, but also
Yeah.
I like that melody. I mean, that kind of leads up to something good
Yeah, he's
too.
not
It's
one of the
so
guys
much
that I
over
would
and over.
say is just a speed guy.
Yeah.
But he writes really good.
Right.
His progressions are pretty interesting. Or like Michael Romeo, I think from Symphony X, the guy just
Right.
writes so good. You know, he kind of does a lot of the dun, 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 you know, that we used to do back in the 80s and the 70s. But as far as his writing skills, his melody, and he orchestrates, and he's a fabulous player. But anyways, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna do. Well, yeah, let me play one more song. I don't have this one down that good, but I'm gonna see if I can get by with it. We'll see what happens with this one. Again, this is for the death metal project that I'm doing. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. I still have to put melodies over it, but those are the basic tunes
Okay, then you're
that
gonna.
make up that
So it'll
song.
be instrumental.
Yeah, that's all instrumental project. Any final questions or anything?
What do you call that?
What's that? Oh, that's called Blotted Science.
What?
Blotted Science.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's with Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse and Derek Roddy from Hate Eternal. It's pretty brutal stuff. Yeah. It's not as technical as the Spastic Ink, but it's very, very interesting stuff. We have all the material written. Probably have a CD out by the end of the year. But hey, just wanted to thank y'all for listening to all my note mumbo jumbo, and thank John
Oh man, thank you
for having me
being
come
here.
out.
We really appreciate
Yeah,
you
thanks for coming out, man. Awesome.
And this is my first clinic. I was pretty nervous, and thanks for helping me out. So,
Did you ever do any like 8-finger technique stuff?
yeah, I wasn't gonna play this song, but let me go ahead and do that. How are we doing on time?
It's up to you.
Let me do one more tune and see what happens.
I was gonna ask you how you started. How was it?
The 8-finger stuff?
Yeah. You still up to it? Or
Let me give you a couple of exercises. Okay, what I did on that, I used to do this chromatic thing going up and went. As you can tell, I'm kind of screwing it up. But anyways, that was a good little exercise to get me going.
it's kind of like the Chopin Fantasy, the long dot transcribe.
And I'm not familiar with that one. But anyways, it was just a pattern of going up chromatically like that. Then I started doing it on different strings. That kind of a thing like that. And playing in different patterns. Like that. And it's harder to go backwards. That kind of thing like that. But anyways, this is a song called Battle of the Hands. It's on the shut up. I gotta work with this thing.
By the way, while he's doing that, Ron will have CDs available for sale. This one,
Yeah.
what is this, Solitarily?
This is on the solo CD, Solitarily Speaking of Theoretical Confinement. And I've got both Spastic Ink CDs too. So let me see if I can get through this one. I wasn't gonna play this one, but we'll see. Yeah, what happens on this song is whatever this hand does, this one does immediately after it. And then this song goes into another song called About Face. Actually, the whole CD is 45 songs, and they all kind of run into each other.
This one you bought.
Yeah. So let's see if I can get through this thing.